and Facebook and Twitter are linked down below, as well as my fashion blog. Some of my recent videos on my main channel where I'm like pushing it like no other to everyone. Well, I'm telling you now, I have a fashion blog. It's linked down below, and I'm doing a giveaway when I hit 1,000 subscribers, and I'm over halfway there. So, and I love it. It's like, I'm loving it. So if you want to check that out, that's linked down there, and let's go ahead and hop right in. Okay, so today's video is called Newlywed and Bored. Okay. Hi, Nikki. So here's my question. I am almost 24, and I got married 2 years ago. I really love my husband, but sometimes I find marriage to be boring. We have different hobbies, so a lot of the time we are doing our own separate thing. Also, my husband works a lot more than I do, so we don't have very much time together. When we were dating, I felt like we did so much together, which I miss. Now it seems like we are always doing our own thing. I was wondering if you have any advice on how to keep things interesting. I look forward to hearing from you. Thanks. Okay, so first off, I have to preface this video by saying, I guess, like, guys, I'm a newlywed. I've only been married for 3.5 years, so I can't really sit here and like pretend to be wise and like, well, let me tell you how to keep the flames alive, because we're great, because it's not really like, I don't know, I don't really have a ton of experience, you know, I'm still newly married myself, but I can relate to you in the sense of like, sometimes you look back on dating and you're like, oh my gosh, it was so exciting, like, what the heck? I understand that feeling, but I will tell you I'm gonna give you kind of the things that Dan and I have done to kind of help with that, because I do understand that feeling, and I think that is a constant thing that you work on when you're married, because it is so important. I mean, it is so important. So I'm gonna tell you. The first thing is, in terms of the fact that you have your own hobbies and stuff like that, you know, oops, those are the dogs, sorry. Okay, so the first thing is, setting aside time, you know, setting time aside for yourself. I think when you're dating, because it's so exciting and new, like you naturally just set aside time for each other. Especially like guys more so than girls. And I'm not bashing on guys, we all have our issues. I think as girls sometimes like we tend to be controlling and we have our own issues. I'm just saying, like guys, usually being romantic doesn't come as naturally to them, but it does come more naturally when they are pursuing a girl and they know what they want. So it does get a little harder, especially for them after they get married, to do that naturally. So you have to, and it does for us, like I said, guys have a harder time with that. So it has to be something that is actually set aside and scheduled. And I know it feels like, well, that's not romantic and that's not what I want, but that's kind of what it has to be. You have to know, like, okay, Saturday, it's our day, you know, or our night or whatever. I mean, some people are fulfilled just by a date night. I'm not. I'm really needy and obnoxious. I have to have a day or more. So like we'll usually take Sundays and I'm like, this is our day. And my family jokes. I'm like, Dan, like, no, come on, you can't do anything else. We just have to hang. But you know what? And maybe that'll change, but that is kind of my personality. Like time is a love language for me. I like to be with him. And so that's what you're gonna have to do. You guys are gonna have to talk, and you know, you're gonna have to tell him, like, I know this sounds melodramatic, but this is so important to our marriage staying healthy and staying married. Not like, if you want us to stay married, not like threatening or anything, but just saying that's such an important thing that I think we really need to set aside the time. Like, can we pick a day? Well, I think once a week is like minimum. That's what I think. But where we have a date night or we have a day or whatever, and set it aside and find something you like to do. And it doesn't have to be a hobby. You don't have to like both love to play tennis or golf or whatever. Like, do you like watching movies? Like, watch movies together. That's what Dan and I do. We're so lazy. We pretty much like to eat and watch stuff. Like, you know, we don't really like, I can't sit here and be like, guys, go on a hike. Like, we don't really like hiking that much. We don't really like playing sports together that much. Like, we like laying in our bed and watching shows and going and getting food. And like yesterday we were watching a show and we watched it for like 5 hours, and then we took a break because we ran to Starbucks for like happy hour for frappuccinos, and then we came back and finished our show and made dinner. And that's good. I felt so close to him and happy. And so yeah, this was a really long drawn out thing to say. Set aside time for each other. I know that's like one simple answer to a complex question, but I think a lot of it will you'll start to feel closer to him if you set aside time to be together, because life gets crazy and busy, and it's only going to get crazier and busier when you're at the point where like you have kids. I don't know if you do or not. I don't think so. You didn't seem get insinuate that in the thing, but when you have kids, when you have a mortgage payment, when you have all these things, but ultimately none of those are as important as you and him anyways, so you have to set aside the time, as hard as that is. And you have to take the action to do it, because it seems like when you're married, everything is like against you. Like all of a sudden, the romantic feelings go away. Like you have to fight for it, fight for your marriage, and set aside the time. So that's a long answer. Okay, all right, Facebook, Twitter, link down below. Send your questions to this inbox on YouTube, and I will see you next time. Bye, guys.